Hello there. You recall the meeting a couple of days ago in Hamilton that Hamilton showed up for? Not the city Hamilton, because 183,000 people in a tiny little hall would be kind of silly, and not the musical, because that would have actually been fun and people enjoyed themselves. No, Hamilton Ryan, the candidate for Hamilton East for the National Party, showed up to it after a couple of councillors had already been run out of the meeting by a bunch of insane cookers. That meeting has been really interesting to sit down and watch the reactions to, because the majority of people understand that those people are crazy, absolutely insane. They worry when the sun goes down that we've been plunged into 1,000 years of darkness, that kind of crazy. The interesting thing, though, about their reactions and watching those over the last couple of days is that they consider this meeting an absolute success because they ran politicians out of it, because they spoke over politicians, they yelled and screamed, and instead of getting answers or listening or having any kind of critical thinking skills whatsoever that would make it really plausible for them to understand what a 20-minute city actually is instead of the hellscape nightmare they seem to want to believe it is, these people think that they succeeded. There are people who are arguing things like their freedom of speech and opinion is the same as facts. They're not. Don't get the two mixed up. And of course, the organisers themselves had something to say. Roger Stratford, who is one of the organisers of the group for the Ratepayers Association, you may recall from last year's local body election, Stratford was the candidate in Hamilton who was running on a campaign promise of keeping Māori out of Garden Place between certain hours because they need to lose that attitude of theirs. Anyway, he was wearing a different cap, not his big pointy white one, and he turned around and said that this whole mess was actually the fault of the councils, because they didn't come and answer the questions, because they didn't provide security, because they didn't provide food or public transport. They basically just showed up to work everybody up, so it was obviously the council's fault, who, by the way, didn't thank the association for organising the meeting. These people have a very skewed perspective. It's all about them, and it's all incredibly selfish, and they don't understand why nobody takes them seriously. But don't get me wrong, you shouldn't take them seriously in terms of what they believe. You should take them seriously as a threat to how our democracy is going to work. We've seen more and more instances of these groups and organisations showing up to public meetings and causing massive disruptions, which makes it much harder on a one-on-one level for an individual to see what's being offered to them by the people that want to make the decisions for them, from politicians who want to represent them. These people are a serious threat to how our democracy works in the most benign way at the moment. But there's always a chance it could escalate. These people literally showed up with a writ for a death warrant to this meeting. How do you think that's going to roll out during a national election, which we've got on at the moment? These people are dangerous, really dangerous. So if you find yourself in a meeting with one of them, make sure you've got facts on hand so that you can back up what you're saying, but make sure when they start making their noise that you tell them to sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, or get the fuck out of there. Because what they're doing is not only dangerous for democracy, it's disrespectful to everybody else involved in the process.